What is going on, FA Nation? John Pemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Playbook live show. It is Tuesday. We have a 12-game DraftKings main slate on tap. And, James, it's going to be a wet one out there. We highlighted on the preview show that there were 6 games that we were potentially watching the weather for. 4 of those 6 games, most definitely going to be seeing some rain. Potentially a 5th game could see some rain around the start of that game, but we're expecting it to be a bit wet on this slate, and that's obviously going to impact our roster construction and the amount of risk we're willing to take when it comes to building our lineups today.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. We had highlighted it and it's the exact games that we had talked about, or at least our local weatherman did on the pre-show. So, the Midwest looks a little interesting, looks a little spotty. It's unfortunate because the Cubs, there's wind blowing out in Wrigley. Yeah. And, of course, like the first positive wind game for bats in a while in Wrigley, and there's rain. So, like, that kind of negates it and kind of takes it off the – does it even matter if there's wind when there's rain? I don't know. I've never studied anything like that. So
Weatherman John, not up on
that's probably past our it's the next pay grade, right?
I look for the the picture books, and I go based off the the pictures there. So
sure. It's definitely going to be an interesting one. Just in general, but yeah, I mean, it's a good slate. Nevertheless, 12 games, maybe 10. We'll see. Yeah,
we'll see when we get closer to roster lock here. We do appreciate you guys tuning in with us. That playbook is out on Fantasy Alarm for y'all to check out there. If you want to hit that like, share, and subscribe button, it is a free way to support the work we do here each and every day. Our guy Rusty on the show here. Hopefully he had a Monday the other day for himself there.
The other day as in yesterday.
Yeah, other day than yesterday. All these days blend. You know that. I was talking to my wife earlier today. I honestly thought it was Wednesday. I was like, yeah, we'll go down to the beach on Friday. Like everything will be great. She's like, it's only Tuesday. I said, that is a nightmare. That is not.
It's unfortunate news. I wish you didn't tell me that.
Not what I was expecting, but all right, here we go. Wind is blowing out all week at Wrigley, says Anthony, which is good to know, I guess, as we have that series in Chicago. Again, big slate, 12 games. We went over ownership and some of our thoughts. We were fairly correct on where we thought ownership was going to land. Robbie Ray and Andrew Abbott are our top priced starting pitchers. Robbie Ray is the higher rostered of the two. We talked, and you've highlighted for a while now, Cleveland's overall struggles against left-handed pitching. You have Ray at home on this slate, which obviously some of the other starting pitchers are potentially impacted by rain. And we're going the Robbie Ray route as a spend-up option today.
We are. He's the best option on the slate. He's the best spend-up on the slate. Like, I think that there's a lot to be said about how good some of these pitchers are. Like, Robbie Ray has like the bingo spot, like elite pitcher in elite spot, elite ballpark. Right. It's like the dream scenario of top tier pitching. And then like the rest of them are really good, but there's like kind of question marks, right? Andrew Abbott looked great in his last start. I mean, right. It literally doesn't, unless he threw a no-hitter or a perfect game, it doesn't get better than what you're looking at on the screen. Like 9 shutout with 5 strikeouts.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really get better. But he's at home with Byron Buxton back in that Minnesota lineup, make him a little more potent.
And that's also a game in Cincinnati where like maybe there's some rain in that game, which if it causes any sort of like start and stops, it throws pitchers off sometimes. It could be a reason to that they're avoiding him. Brian Wu is also getting ownership. In fact, he's actually getting more ownership than Robbie Ray. And we kind of talked about this. His recent struggles here, home runs, 6 homers allowed over the last 3 games, including 2 in his home ballpark, which is supposed to be a favorable pitcher park. Red Sox won last night 2-0 against Logan Gilbert. Are you buying or fading the chalk Brian Wu style here?
Yeah, I mean it is something, John. Like you bringing up the home runs, like at home this year, 437 expected slug, 45% fly ball rate, 13% barrel. That's like one of the highest marks on the slate. Like none of that stuff is good. So now I obviously like I think at a later date, Boston's lineup will look a lot better when most of the young players they have like start being more consistent.
Sure.
I mean, we saw what Roman Anthony can be. He hit that pitch that nobody can hit. Like that
dead set to left center or right center, right? Like 300, 420 feet.
Dude, on an up and outside fastball, 96 miles an hour, like you don't pull that pitch, right? Like that's not a thing.
No. But you don't hit it that far and that hard.
And you don't hit it that far. Yes. And he did. And but so like that's the first time he's done it or been like really good at all.
That's what 70 grade power looks like, you know.
That's what 70 grade power like. I like Brian Wu in this spot. So like I'd be okay going to Brian Wu.
Logan Gilbert had 10 Ks in 5 innings.
Yeah, so. I mean Brian Wu's a good pitcher. I don't think he's like Logan Gilbert good, but he's a good pitcher. If you want to go there, you can. I think I'd find the extra money to go to Robbie Ray, but there's obviously really expensive offense, especially like with the Yankees being so popular.
Yeah.
That if you want to get judged, that might be the decider, right? Like you save $800 and so I'm okay with like either. Like I can see a scenario where you use some Boston bats or using Brian Wu. I think there's a case to be made for both. And I kind of feel that same way about David Peterson as well. Like that I could see myself using David Peterson because the Braves outside of Ronald Acuna still are as inconsistent as ever. And David Peterson is clearly evolved into his best form. I don't know if it's final form, but he's clearly as good as he's ever been. So, I think there's a lot to like about this tier, but at the end of the day, like I say, we're talking a lot of, and I think you and I both just simply agree, Robbie Ray at the end of the day is still the best one in this range. I
would agree with you. When it came to ownership, and we kind of talked about it on the preview show as well, like we just gravitated towards Will Warren in the strikeout upside. Yep. And he is the highest rostered pitcher on DraftKings tonight. So $7,500 at home against the Angels. We know they can hit a lot of home runs. We also know they can strike out a lot. And Will Warren has an elite strikeout rate. And he's $7,500. Makes it easy to pair him up with a Robbie Ray on this particular slate. For those who didn't watch this morning show, what is it about Will Warren that we're looking at here today?
I mean, we said it last night, right? I think I said Warren Ray, that's the cash pairing that everyone's going to play. And I was half right. And you said that kind of leading, like, seems like Brian Wu is the leader ahead of Ray, but it was just very obvious looking at this pitching slate and being like, well, Will Warren strikes out a boatload of people, and his inconsistencies are the only thing from stopping him from being an 8K plus pitcher. And that obviously can hurt him here. But the one thing Will Warren really hasn't done, John, is allow home runs. Like, for an inconsistent pitcher, it's more about like the walks that have really harmed him this year. It's never been really damaging. The Dodgers damaged him, but he also walked 4 people in the first inning. So
now this is a team that can do that damage against you. So
for sure. But I'm just saying, like, he hasn't been that. Like, he hasn't been a guy that allows a lot of power. And he just dominates opposing lineups. So he just dominates them, especially with strikeouts. I mean, 32% strikeout rate to righties, and the strikeout rate to lefties 26%. So like very balanced attack amongst for Will Warren. I don't see really anything wrong going there. I'd meet in that chalk because the other chalk play in Ben Brown or at least is the ownership still high on Ben Brown? It is, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Ben Brown actually higher than Robbie Ray on this slate. So,
and like that one's a little strange because the wind's blowing out and there's bad rain. So bad that Roth has downgraded it to yellow orange, which shout out to Kevin Roth of Roto Grinders. He is the elite.
He is the actual.
He is the actual meteorologist to give him the proper the proper like job.
He's not the weather guy.
He's not.
He went to an accredited college and graduated with a degree.
Yes. Like if he wanted to, he could be like on the news, right? Like just like literally dissecting whatever there is to dissect in the game. But there's wind blowing out and there's bad rain, and I get it because Ben Brown is like another. You put him. Isn't he similar to Will Warren? Him and Will Warren look like a Spider-Man meme. Like they both strike out people, and
Warren's had a better batted ball luck. Obviously,
correct.
Ben Brown has had some huge explosion games, which really sink your lineup. And then he goes out there against Cincinnati and one hits them with 9 Ks and gives you 30 fantasy points. So, obviously the trouble with this one again, and if you're just reading Roth's weather report, he says this game might not finish. If it hits a game delay, it may not finish. These are 2 divisional opponents. They absolutely don't have to finish this game. They can find time throughout the year to finish it. It's also the beginning of this series. They can find time in the next couple of days to finish this game. So, I would be quite happy if everybody played Ben Brown today and that game got delayed or canceled or whatever, and his points don't count. We're on the Will Warren train again, super chalky, but would rather take the devil I know than the devil I don't when it comes to the weather situation there. Same situation in Chicago. Matthew Libator, someone we highlighted, a really great matchup. Overall, still a high strikeout rate. We did mention that he is coming off of some arm fatigue and then didn't pitch well, and the White Sox lineup is starting to hit a bit better. So maybe some concerns there, but he's among the top 5 highest rostered starting pitchers today. So it does kind of drop off pretty quickly because we have 2 guys over 30% ownership today at pitching on DraftKings. So is there another matchup or player that you'd be looking to potentially include in your lineup builds?
Yeah. What do you make of Walker Buehler? You had asked me last night.
Yeah.
And my concern with Walker Buehler is the home runs, because he has struggled with home runs. I mean, a lot of power just in general that Walker Buehler has allowed. Seattle is such a boomer bust offense. Like it is, and it's been more bust when Cal Raleigh isn't homering, right? Cal Raleigh had bases loaded last night. He does nothing. They had bases loaded for the top of the order last night. They do nothing. Lucas Giolito blanks them, 10 strikeouts, 22% strikeout rate against righties. They are like dead smack in the middle, 720 team OPS against righties. They are dead smack in the middle, 150 team OPS ISO. Like it's obviously a good ballpark, right? Would Buehler, like, because my take is, and this is something that I would do, I would rather play Walker Buehler than Ben Brown today.
Sure.
Like Ben Brown that's a super risky, like obviously risky play because the weather and everything attached to that. Like, is that a hot take at all? Like, is that something that you would?
No, I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a hot take. And I also, I mentioned to you that the pitching wise, right? Giolito had worked with Andrew Bailey. They thought maybe he was tipping some pitches. Also, and something I noted with you on Sunday, Brian Bayo got rid of his sweeper and threw straight cutter sinker, and shut out the Yankees. Last night, Lucas Giolito for the second straight start basically went 60% fastball. If you look at his chart graphs, he was being a bit more mixing in his pitches, And last 2 starts, they just said, no, Lucas, throw your fastball, see what's happening. Last start for Walker Buehler, he went from a guy that on Baseball Savant has 7 pitches listed out there. He basically threw 2 pitches, fastball, sinker, fastball, slider in that last start against Tampa Bay. No, fastball, sinker in his last start against Tampa Bay. That Yankees start, he threw 30 sliders and 7 fastballs, and he got hammered.
Right.
I'm wondering if they were like, hey,
don't throw the slider.
Stop throwing your breaking ball pitches to Giolito as well. And into Bayo. Bayo was throwing like 30% sweeper. He threw 3 total sweepers in that game. If they're just like, guys, stop throwing these sweepers. You're hanging them and they're banging them. Throw fastballs, throw sinkers, and let's go. We'll see what happens tonight on the pitch count. But if we go see Walker Buehler throw more fastballs and sinkers today, then that might just be the new philosophy of the Red Sox pitching staff here.
Right. I mean, it is interesting, and we've kind of noted that a couple times this year with like different someone on this slate. Slade Ciccone has changed his pitch mix since he went to Cleveland. Luis Ortiz did the same when he went to Cleveland. Like a lot of pitchers do that, right? They go to new pitching coaches and like unlock stuff and work with different staffs and whatnot. So it is interesting. But I just think based on like we're just talking about these value plays, like Liberatore doesn't look good to me because the arm fatigue scares me. And the fastball velocity scares me. And I understand the White Sox are the White Sox, but like that stuff scares me. So I'd rather just, again, like bank on Buehler in a good ballpark and maybe building off his last start than I would Ben Brown in a bad environment because the weather, or Liberatore because he has a dead arm. So like,
I agree. Listen, obviously Buehler is still a major risk because he has not pitched well this year.
Yes, absolutely.
You have to sometimes just sort of take the 12 ground ball outs last. Is that because he's now throwing pitches that are getting ground balls and not sweepers that are getting hung and hit? So I'm at least interested. If you don't want to pitch him, that's fine. But if he comes out and has another good start, and you go to Baseball Savant tomorrow or Fangraphs and see the pitch breakdown, he's just throwing a bunch of fastballs. That could be just something to note moving forward here. So because we also talked in the show last night, there's not a pitcher under Buehler that we are interested in.
No, there is not. No, there is not.
Confirmed JP Sears yet, or do we?
No, it is not. No, it is not.
Maybe Osvaldo Bido or something. I don't know.
Oh, dude, I mean, like it almost has to be him. Just like, but they also could just go opener, right? Like we get Grant Holman opening again, or
Anthony wants to throw Kyle Hendricks against the Yankees today. I mean, listen.
And I also don't know if Anthony knows this or anybody knows this. The Yankees are not the only team that use the torpedo bats. Literally every team uses. If you watch a baseball game,
Ellie De La Cruz homered in 4 straight games. He uses the torpedo bat.
Yes.
I mean, listen. I will never, ever, ever recommend throwing Kyle Hendricks ever.
Okay.
Not if there's a fire.
No.
But if you wanted to throw Kyle Hendricks, more power to you. I mean, listen, the Yankees bats, as you've said, they've been shut down a little bit here. They're also very capable of waking up at any time, especially one individual. Aaron Judge strikes out a lot lately. Kyle Hendricks doesn't strike out anybody. So if Aaron Judge can put bat on ball to Kyle Hendricks, there's a good chance that ball goes far. So I am not willing to risk, even at $6,200, Kyle Hendricks there. And again, Alexander against the Athletics, horrible spot. Poor guy on the beat the streak, lost out. Jacob Wilson didn't come through last night. Kremer, we talked about his struggles versus lefties. Good luck to you, sir, in that ballpark, and also some rain potentially to deal with. So, the guy throws 86 miles an hour, says Mark. Yeah, I don't. Batting practice. Kyle Hendricks is out there throwing to everybody there. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't think I'd throw anybody less than Buehler. No,
we don't. No, let's move.
All right. Catcher position. When it comes to ownership at the catcher position today, looks like yesterday when we thought it was Sears. Diaz and Victor Caratini are your top 2 rostered catchers.
Yeah.
This is also a 12-game slate, so getting a guy at $3,300 in the middle of the lineup, certainly draws some attention there against JP Sears. who has been downright dreadful. He's almost 20%. Carantini's 10%. So, like, those are the top two. Everybody else is under 10% when it comes to rostership here. Obviously, you can play Kyle Rowley. You can play Will Smith. You can play a lot of these guys up at the top. If you're not going with the Houston catchers, do you have a favorite plug?
I don't mind Rutschman because I do think that ballpark is just so conducive to home runs.
Hey, he had a pop-up home run yesterday.
I mean, and guess what? Can do it again today. The pop-up home run is live once again.
Yep.
I don't mind Alejandro Kirk. I was looking at some stuff today that basically showed that Brandon Pfaadt, although terrible, we know Brandon Pfaadt to be terrible against lefties, also like pretty bad when you look at some of the peripheral stuff when it comes to righties too. So I don't mind the Blue Jays today, like just full stacking them. I probably won't get there because I think there's just better teams. I don't mind if you're paying up for Wells, someone. I think the Yankees look really good for home runs today. This is obviously a good spot to break out in. Wild lineup change for the Yankees. I don't know if you saw who's leading off tonight, but Jason Dominguez. So that's interesting because they do need a big shift in lineup. But at the end of the day, like Cuero's hitting fourth, and I think it's hard to ignore the catchers that you told me not to talk about, the Astros. I couldn't think of the team.
Yeah, Carantini and Diaz is there.
Yeah,
I mentioned Caro already. Again, if you think, did you say Salvi with Leiter on the mound?
No, I didn't mention Salvi, but for sure, Leiter is not a good pitcher.
No, and we know obviously Kansas City's offense has been struggling here.
Yes.
We'll get to Barger there. We're big Addison Barger fans here today. Hitting second at third base, good value. I wouldn't play Kyle Hendricks in the Rockies Oracle Park. That's true.
I wouldn't play Kyle Hendricks against any of the Final Four college baseball teams.
A Little League World Series team probably light up Chinese Taipei out there, just hitting ropes off Kyle Hendricks there.
The pitchers for both teams are probably throwing the same.
That's right. How do we feel about a race stack, Anthony? We'll get to that right now.
Yeah.
First base position. Obviously, we're going to run back the Vasquez versus lefties play. It will come through for us eventually. Why not today? Ohtani, Freeman, some good left-handed power bats up there. Pete Alonso, always live for a homer, even against Schwellenbach. Naylor versus Bassett. You want to talk some lefty splits? We know Bassett struggles. Naylor hitting cleanup. Ryan O'Hearn's back in the lineup versus Littell at $4,800. I like that spot in Tampa Bay. And then, of course, you want to go down Vladdy, Goldschmidt. Soderstrom versus Alexander is great. Aranda, though, big night yesterday. 2 more hits, a double, and we'll pair him with Brandon Lau. So, Anthony, you want to go lefties versus Kremer? That's the play. And that essentially means that we'd play every first baseman. Pass Cantino up?
Yeah, probably no disrespect to Wilmer Flores. Probably wouldn't play him.
They have Devers in the lineup now.
They do. They do. That's fair.
We think, right? We think. He said it. Devers wearing number 16, by the way, New Jersey number.
Well, it's more of a first baseman's number, honestly.
Yeah,
16 fits a first baseman pretty good.
Yeah.
I still think he should put all the gloves on the table and just grab them.
Yeah.
And
they have more reports coming out today. Obviously, now all the dirty laundry is going to get here.
Yeah, of course.
The front office was irked by Devers on his own taking grounders at shortstop. Remember when I came on the show and said they showed Devers? Apparently the front office was pretty upset to see.
It was just him doing it himself.
Did it on his own. Yeah, did it on his own out there taking grounders at short just to give them the middle finger. So
we need a whole different show for this.
We do.
Because the Red Sox are at fault and Devers is at fault. They just butt heads. Like the Red Sox came down and then Devers went over the top, and then the Red Sox
they were both being wildly petty towards each other.
100 the whole time. Whole time. From the Bregman signing, right? Yeah. That was when it all when it started. This is an elite position. I'm glad you highlighted the Dodgers. I think they look great. They have a massive implied run total. I think another bold take tonight. I think the Athletics may be the best under-owned stack of the night. Dude, Jason Alexander.
I was surprised to see the ownership on them.
Do you know who Jason Alexander, John, pitched for? Do you know who he started the season with? The A's.
Okay, so they know him. They know
all the damage that has been done to Alexander was from start with the Athletics.
Sure. So now they're getting back at him, right?
Yeah, getting back at him. I think that they're one of the better, if not the best, tournament team of the day. Love that no one's playing them because again, they're in a. Why are they getting
5.1 implied run total is one of the highest, third highest, best on the board?
Yeah, Dodgers, Astros, Yankees all have higher. Those are the only three, I think. Yeah. This one that I had a hard time kind of figuring out. But obviously, as a tournament player, that's Kurtz. My boy Kurtz
is $2,800 walk off, man.
Bro. Just play talented kids, right? Just play them. We've said it all year long. And you know what? The Athletics.
Anthony said it. Blake Kurtz. Yeah, Blake Kurtz, $2,800.
Right. and to the Athletics credit, they said when they call him up, he's just gonna play. Right? They were just we're gonna play through the struggles. We what do we have to lose? He's an elite power bat. He's hitting in the middle of their lineup and has been elite power bat guy.
And he's gonna hit bad pitching. So
he's going to hit bad pitching. So. They obviously have to get to Alexander to avoid the Abreu and Hader plays. Yeah. Also, Abreu gave up the 2-run bomb to Nick Kurtz last night, so that's something. But yeah, I think they're an elite stack, and in Soderstrom you can play in the outfield if you're trying to get to Kurtz. So
obviously Jacob Wilson really went over 4. He did warm, but not today. We'll go right back to the well with him there. Again, anybody these guys in these mid tier, they're all in play, and then you just go down to Kurtz. No offense to the rest of the mid group here, but Kurtz is where we want to go at $2,800. Second base position, Ketel Marte is 57, Jazz hitting 5th at 51. Brandon Lau, I think our guy Mark Pitts threw in our chat this morning that if he just sat against lefties, he'd be hitting 300 with a 900 OPS. So, he's not facing a lefty today. He's got Dan Kremer at $4,400 in that ballpark. So, if the weather holds, Lau and Holiday for me are both in great spots. But as we once again expected, Jose Altuve is your highest rostered player today. Overall, as he was yesterday, he is higher rostered than Shohei Ohtani overall today. He homered and immediately paid off the ownership yesterday, and he'll probably do that again today at $4,000 with outfield second base eligibility.
You know what? I'll pat ourselves. We kind of talked about it yesterday. As soon as they made the pitching change, Houston is not good against righties, and everyone stayed there. Everyone's just I don't know what to do now. I'm just going to play Houston. If Sears doesn't pitch today, unless it's Osvaldo Bido, it's probably a similar scenario. But if Sears pitches, lock and load all the Astros, including Altuve, because super elite eligibility, super great against left-handed pitching.
I know we've talked about how bad Sears has been, but I don't think we've actually given out the numbers yet on either show today. So I'm just going to see if my computer will gracefully cooperate and let me pull up Fangraphs for everybody here. 7.18 K per 9. The walks per 9 is actually starting to improve a little bit, but still a 5.8 ERA, a FIP of near 5 as well. Righties against JB Sears this year, almost a 500 slug with a 350 WOBA, 1.8 homers per 9. That's against righties. If you think, hey, lefties, maybe he shuts it down. He doesn't. 1.9 homers per 9 allowed to left-handed hitters. Sure, some of the other numbers are obviously a little bit better for him. But still 420 slugging, 300 WOBA, could be better. But the 2 homers per 9 is still an elite number against lefties here. So, and we're banking all the righties against Houston anyways. I don't even think they have a lefty in their lineup. So, riding the Altuve and Houston righties train against JB Sears will certainly work out. Matt McClain's back to hitting ninth, so we'll fade that one as we talked about on the show. You do have Albies versus a lefty, McNeil, who's still pretty good. Donovan and Midroff leading off today. If they can avoid the rain, kind of both interested in those plays. And then Semien hitting cleanup today at 3,500.
Yeah, the Texas lineup, John, is I know Seth Lugo's like good, pretty good. At least he was last year. I really like that Texas lineup, man. Evan Carter leading off, Semien hitting fourth, Adolis back to hitting fifth. I think they have some like pretty good stuff going on. So yeah, I would love to get to
new card added to the collection today. If you guys can see that is a game worn autograph memorabilia card of Evan Carter, rookie.
New leadoff hitter now.
Out of 25, 2 out of 25. Major league materials out of Tops. Cost me $40. You know why? Because people gave up on Evan Carter, not me.
Not
little eBay snag the other day. All right.
Rafael Devers being introduced right now, by the way.
Right now. Is he coming out like the NWO music? You know,
I don't have this sound on because I'm trying to listen to you, but I do see the introduction being and I haven't actually seen Devers yet.
Like ever before, or just like
no.
Okay.
No, I watched him torment the Yankees for a long time.
That's true.
I'm so happy he's out of the division. They're just talking, but it's not Devers. So I haven't seen if he has the first base glove on. Like what if he was just at the thing, just throwing a ball into the first base glove?
you know what would be great?
Yeah.
Actually, is this? I can't tell if this is real or not. Is it real? Is that real? They got a picture. Who is this? I don't know if this is real. There's a picture of him and Barry Bonds. I'm like, is that they're together right now?
Oh, there's Devers.
They are. Yeah, the Giants tweeted a photo. Devers walking in the building with Barry Bonds. So, all right.
He only has a hat on the table. It doesn't surprise me, I guess, because Boston made him throw away his gloves, so he wouldn't actually have the glove with him.
Interesting. So we'll see what happens with the Devers thing here tonight. Where were we in second base? We were talking about the Rangers and their lineup.
Yeah, Semien was the last guy you brought.
Okay. So we mentioned Matt McClain on the preview show because they had moved from the second. He's hitting ninth. They moved Gavin Lux to second tonight. Do we like that against Festa at 3,300?
I don't hate it because the ballpark and because David Festa has allowed a lot of power, but he has just been significantly worse to righties. Where's the Festa stuff? 437 expected slug, 222 expected batting average to lefties. Big reverse splits guy, Festa is this year.
All right, so not even though a good batting spot for Lux, not where we're.
It's a good. I mean, you could do it. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying it has just been a better split for Festa facing the lefties.
India's leading off at 33. Warren says he wants to hear us out. Andres Jimenez. So that's the lefty play there. Andres Jimenez hitting 6 against Brandon Pfaadt. Listen, Toronto lefties, we kind of, they don't have many.
Dude.
Barger was the one. Jimenez has come back from the IL. He's hit a little better.
His expected numbers, John, against lefties are the worst of any pitcher on the slate. Worst. Do you know who's on the slate? Randy Vasquez is on the slate.
Oh, Vasquez keeps actually pitching well. So
no, I know, but doesn't pitch well against lefties. Also, I know he's not on the main slate. He's on the early slate. Worse expected stuff against lefties than Antonio Senzatella. If that tells you anything you need to know about where Brandon Pfaadt has been against lefties this year, when you're worse than Antonio Senzatella in really anything pitching related, you need to reevaluate what you're doing.
I agree. So if you wanted to go Jimenez, that's fine. Again, I will talk about Barger in a second. He's at third in outfield eligibility. India's leading off. Christian Moore's hitting 9th. I don't really want to go there. You've been in on Brooks Lee. That's
He's been
matchup
good.
against Abbott.
He's been good, dude. He's been really good.
Is he better from the left or the right side of the plate?
Let's see what the numbers look like for Brooksley this year. Against lefties, Brooksley is not doing anything.
Okay.
Really bad.
Not the spot then.
Not the spot.
All right, third base. Ramirez, Machado, Devers up at the top here.
Why do they have Devers listed? It's weird. San Francisco.
It's where he plays now.
It's crazy. Yeah, you can play any of those guys. They're all good at baseball.
They are all good at baseball. Riley, Suarez, you can play them as well. Riley, obviously, Suarez, just a ton of power. Paredes hit 43 against Sears. Caminero versus Kremer. We just know there's a lot of power in that spot. Westberg's been really good, hitting cleanup against Littell at 4K. Max Muncy of the Dodgers is 3,900. Gets the lefty matchup, lefty-righty matchup against Vasquez. But Barger, for me, hitting second is my play of the day here.
Yeah. It's for me, like a lot of those guys you talked about, it's really, I love Barger and Muncy. Those are the two that I've really played. I'm playing a bunch of lineups today.
Yeah.
And I've played a lot of Max Muncy and I've played a lot of Addison Barger. We talked about how bad the Brandon Pfaadt numbers are, and I'll just pull them back up. So expected batting average, 353. Expected slugs, 630. Expected WOBA, 425 against Brandon Pfaadt. I mean, like, dude, he has a 10% swinging strike rate, 17% strikeout rate. It's weird because he still has like a pretty elite ground ball to fly ball ratio against lefties, but everything's hit hard against Brandon Pfaadt. So I love Brandon Pfaadt. And then Randy Vasquez is also the second worst pitcher against lefties on the slate.
Yeah.
614 expected slug, 438 expected WOBA, 220 ISO, Pfaadt allowed 219. So the Muncy and Barger tier, and realistically, you could play both because you could play Barger in the outfield, and that's like a luxury you have there. It's hard for me to go anywhere else. Like I love Paredes, I love Caminero because they're both home run threats. I love Eugenio because he can hit home runs too.
Yeah.
But I really have found this position to be one where I just play Muncy, I play Barger, and just kind of move on because that is why wouldn't. I mean, they have almost an equal chance at hitting a home run tonight as anyone above them.
Yeah.
Right. And that's when I look at a position, I'm like, well, if I can get a home run sub 4K, why spend up? Right. Like why spend because Jose Ramirez can home run and get a stolen base, but he has like the toughest matchup on the board. So I really like the Barger Muncy range for sure.
Sure. If you want to go a little bit below, you mentioned Festa being reverse split. So you have CES with a lot of power. Vargas has a 188 ISO versus lefties. He's 3K. Marcelo Myers 3K. The other Max Muncy is down here as well for the A's at 28. Anything you'd play in this range? Dubon, if he's in the lineups, 25.
Yeah, I like the other Max Muncy because I just like the athletics.
Sure.
Dubon is okay. Right. I mean, if you punt and you get the double you got from him yesterday at 2,500, like that's perfectly fine because it's obviously an elite matchup. Like if that Dubon double turns into a run scored and you get 7 fantasy points from him at 2,500 and that gets you to like Judge or Ohtani, you're probably happy with that. So, yeah, I'm okay with those punts.
Shortstop, obviously a loaded position. I think we did we spend up at this position yesterday? Do we have like Ellie in our preview lineup? I forget what we ended up.
We did, and then you made him the cover of the show. But
we did, okay.
Like, and I just said all that stuff about Festa. Ellie also looks like a superhero right now. So
yeah,
like
4 straight games at a homer. I mean,
and the 5th game was like you get a stolen base, and you know. That is eventually going to happen in the same game too. Like he's going to homer and steal 2 bases, and then he's going to be in every winning lineup imaginable.
You just can't steal bases when he's homering because
No, but he did have 3 hits last game,
yeah.
So like he can homer, and he scored 3 runs. So like he can homer Next at bat, steal a base, run scored, and you're like, oh my God, I have 40 fantasy points in 2 at bats.
Yeah. Obviously, any of these top guys are in play. Henderson, Pena, and up.
Yeah.
You can play them all. I think Pena is the chalk at short today. He is. Mookie Betts and Gunnar Henderson, the only other 2 guys up over 10% here tonight. Bichette's leading off if you just want to go against Fott. Crawford's $3,800. We talked to Meadroth already. Correa versus Abbott, tough spot, but we know the right splits there at 36. Anything else for you?
It's such a spend up spot today. I don't have like anything else really.
I mean, you're playing at 2,800 Nick Kurtz, and you're probably gonna like spend down at catcher to like Diaz at 3K. Like you're gonna
or Caratini or Caratini, whichever. We still haven't gotten Astros lineup. We still haven't gotten A's lineup. Would love those things, but they don't like having fun, so we don't get them.
Late 10 o'clock game. You're not gonna get the lineup at 5. That's
I know.
All right, outfield. Obviously, again, you can play pretty much everybody. J-Rock, Trout up, play them all. Like I don't know.
Yeah, there's not a wrong answer.
There's really not a wrong answer here.
No, you could try to talk yourself off any of them, and you'd be like, actually,
figure out what lineup you're stacking today.
Yeah.
And plug in the best player on their team, which usually comes from the outfield. So not to just skip it over the 5K tier, but they're all very elite, all in really good spots. Soto maybe has the hardest individual pitching matchup, but it's Juan Soto.
Yes.
So, good luck there.
Yep.
Mid-range. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, so mid-range I think is interesting. I think Brent Rooker is one of the best tournament plays of the day because I think that about all of the Athletics in general. I think the Athletics look great. I think Wyatt Langford looks great in a Texas stack. Lawrence Butler, Soderstrom, not going to spend too much time there. We talked about Josh Lowe last night. Exact wording of Josh Lowe, like our Josh Lowe was like, is struggling, but is leading off against a guy who allows a lot of home runs to lefties. Hey, guess what? Josh Lowe is struggling, but is leading off against a guy who allows a lot of home runs to lefties. It's like rinse and repeat from last night. It's the same exact scenario. He's facing a guy who gives up a lot of power to lefties. So I think Josh Lowe looks really good at 4,400. It's really hard not to like some of the Cubs. It's really hard not to like Evan Carter at 41. Dude, Giancarlo Stanton, looking at the StatCast data, hit 3 balls last night over 100 miles an hour in his debut.
Yeah, that's never been his problem.
I know, but first game hitting 3. We also found out last night, John, which I found bizarre. He has been hitting baseballs for months.
Sure. He had double elbow problems. So
I know, but he's been doing that for months. Like he's been swinging and hitting for months.
Probably needs to make sure that he doesn't have like injuries. Like
it's just weird. I just find that weird. Nevertheless,
he still can't run, but
doesn't matter when he hits a home run because Kyle Hendricks, 2.25 home runs to right-handed bats this year, 513 expected slug, 363 expected WOBA, 275 ISO to righties this year. It's a pretty righty-heavy lineup tonight for the Yankees, outside of obviously Dominguez, but like Judge hitting up at the top of the lineup, Stanton hitting 4th. You have Goldschmidt hitting 6th. Like it's a pretty good lineup for the Yankees tonight to break out of it. So I really like Stanton. I know he's chalky, but I really think Stanton is a big-time home run opportunity tonight.
Sure. Rafael Devers. I'm here to play wherever they ask me to play. You son of a gun.
I think that is such a good.
I am here to play wherever they ask me to play.
Honestly, what a good team player.
What a good teammate Rafael Devers is. Sandin's great. Obviously, I agree. Roman Anthony homered last night. Who needs Rafael Devers when you have that guy doing that? Dude, they got Benson hitting 6. That's kind of crazy. Though you mentioned the reverse splits just all the way up there. Anthony wants to know if we're spending up and not going Ray, Wu, Abbott, or Schwellenbach.
Well,
I mean, Woo's the chalk. So
right. I think that's what we need to first start. Right. You need to first start by saying Brian Wu is
actually a higher roster than Robbie Ray
by like a significant margin.
I just got a refresh. Let's just see. Is that still the truth? Still the truth. He is. We have Brian Wu at 33% and Robbie Ray at 19%. So
this is a significant difference when you're talking about like if you think one pitcher is going to be chalky and one's not. Like there's a significant difference between the two. So,
but if your stuff says opposite, Anthony, so assume the opposite. Assume Ray is the highest roster of that group. What of the three would you rather pitch? Abbott, probably. Play Abbott versus Minnesota. We mentioned the high strikeout rate for them versus lefties.
Probably Abbott, but the ballpark is obviously terrifying.
Yeah, and there's weather.
And there's weather. Slight weather. Not a lot of weather in that one. Slight weather.
Sure. All right. Value here. Where's Jake Myers at? What do we say? $3,500. Definitely playing
Jake Myers.
That you can play Barger here. Your boy Laureano in the lineup tonight, hitting 6th versus Littell at $3,600.
Dude, he's been really good against righties. Like really good against righties. Dominguez 37 leading off. I don't know if you mentioned him, but he's leading off, which is a crazy world we're living that he's leading off, but he is.
Agreed. Adolis, Caglione, Burleson, Castro's hitting 3rd. Joe Adele even hitting 8th, but has the power.
I've got the power.
2nd today? Jesus.
Yeah, the lefty, they're just trying to change things up. It's
until Jurickson's back, and then they're
until Jurickson's back, right?
Cam Smith 3K.
Cam Smith 3K looks really good against lefties. He hits lefties really hard.
Had a double last night. You know, he's on a little run right now.
Hits lefties really hard.
Austin Slater hitting 2nd, lefty specialist.
Has been Austin Slater's. That has been Austin. Oh, Athletics dropped. Do we got an Athletics lineup? That's what Power just said.
Dropped in ownership, maybe? Maybe he meant dropped in ownership.
I don't see Athletics lineup.
Yeah, maybe he meant dropped in ownership. Maybe.
Bob Melvin said Rafael Devers will DH tonight, by the way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He will hit 3rd. I don't see the A's lineup yet.
No, I don't think it dropped.
I mean, it could technically be out, and we just don't.
He will bat third DH. You said that, right? Bat third.
Yeah,
DH.
bat third DH. Bat third DH.
And Burrell died. If you're a Food Network star person,
I don't know who that is.
She's a chef on Food Network.
Shout out to Food Network, I guess.
She passed away. Sad.
Sorry. Yeah, no, it's sad. No, for sure, it's sad.
This popped on my Twitter timeline. Well, I'm looking for ownership, looking for lineups. All right. Anything else here in the outfield?
I don't think there's anything.
All righty. Let's get our cores in here. Kurtz down below, all the way down.
Robbie Ray.
Yanier. Wrong. That's Yandi. I went Yanier. There he is.
There's an I. It's a tricky one.
Throws me off all the time. We're just going to go Ray Warren because we like that.
Yeah.
All right. Where do we go from here?
I mean, Altuve, Brandon Lau looks really good at 2nd.
Altuve can go in the outfield.
I know. Let's do Lau and let's do Altuve combo.
Okay. Go Barger.
And then let's call it there. And then you have money to do whatever you want from there.
$4,700, 2 outfielders and a shortstop. You guys can get the rest of your lineup in the Discord. We're going to post it in there right now. A's Twitter dropped the lineup, is what Rusty says.
Okay, let's go look. Hopefully it says JP Sears.
Jordan, listen, the numbers look good against the White Sox, but there is some potential rain, and also he's coming off of a fatigued arm, and the White Sox have hit a little bit better versus lefties lately. So I'm mildly scared, but there is some ownership going that way. We prefer Warren over Liberatore or Walker Buehler over him today, but the numbers fared out, and he is a good pitcher as long as that arm fatigue is past.
I know that's the dude. We've said it a lot, and I don't mean to keep harping on it, but anytime you start talking fatigue and arm fatigue, like, and then the result, like, remember the Framber stuff earlier in the year where he was just like tired and then he pitched bad, but then he was like, oh, I'm good. And now he's like the best pitcher in baseball.
Yeah.
Like, that's different than like being fatigued as a guy who's never really pitched as a starter and then also not pitching well. And that's what Liberatore, he has not pitched well while being fatigued. Like, that's not what you want. So
Kurtz is hitting 5th, Rooker DHing again. Sorry.
Sears is starting,
Wilson,
by the way.
Butler, Muncy, Winans, who we talked about on the morning show. Urias, Denzel Clark, JBCS. So.
Update, just keep updating. Rafael Devers will begin taking grounders to get comfortable at first base.
Of course. He's going to play first.
No, I know. I know.
He's going to play.
Ooh, big. There's some big weather updates and what Anthony says. Mets Braves doesn't look as good.
Yeah.
As it did.
Large write-up now for the Cardinals White Sox.
Big write-up, yeah.
Yeah. Go check out the weather report over at Roto-Grinders. I'm not shameful enough to tell you not to. Kevin Ross, awesome. Go look at his
He is awesome.
We're in the business of making money. If there are better tools, we use it. Go ahead. Go check it out.
Agreed.
So make sure you be aware of the weather when building your lineups today, because you don't want to get stuck with a guy in your lineup that may not play. Hitters generally safer than pitchers in those rain games. So
yes,
keep that in mind there as well. Again, we will have the full lineup posted in our Discord right after the show ends. So make sure you check it out. Links in the description of the show. We have a 7-day free trial. You can get in there as well. fantasyland.com/win. Promo code Let's Go saves you that first month for less than $20. It is Takedown Tuesday, as Rusty says, to end the show.
Ooh, I like that.
We'll have the preview show later on for Wednesday. We'll catch you then.